Are we ready?
Yeah, it's live now.
Excellent. Hey everyone, welcome back to slashMLS podcast. I'm Chris, Reddit username PatLinus11. We got a bit of a skeleton crew here today. Who else
Oh,
is here?
Ian's here. Username
Ian.
Armascarhu.
And your intrepid reporter in the field, Pete, username Punk Rock Pete.
Now Pete has graced us with his presence. He's actually he's reporting live from the middle of Idaho. How is it out there?
It's hot and ugly, and it's got a fast speed limit, which is a bonus.
And what MLS news are you covering while you're there in the middle of the state?
I'm covering Boise's attempts to become MLS team number 42. They're shooting for a 2045 start date.
Okay, we'll keep a close tab on that as the evening progresses.
Now, I understand that City Council is they're not the happiest bunch. Are they going to have the soccer-specific stadium ready in time?
The thing that's holding it up is that because of the popularity of Boise State's football team, they really want to go with a colored turf, and at the point when we're at MLS 5.0, people are not going to be happy with a turf field in a place where natural grass could grow.
Now, it is weird that they're going with the orange turf, but I guess we'll see how it plays out. So, a couple real things happened this week, and there were some exciting games we can talk about. We got the CCL just kicked off, I think today, right?
Oh yeah, I think it kicked off 45 minutes ago. I should be watching Alpha United versus Portland Timbers, but it's...
So we can keep an eye on that as we talk to you. What do you guys want to talk about first? Ian, you have a new tier system. You want to lay it on us? If anybody remembers, at the beginning of the year, we divided the teams up into tiers. And, Ian divided the teams up into tiers, and then we just relentlessly judged the tiers that he had invented of, we had the top teams, and you had the playoff contenders, and then you had your I don't know, what did you call the other tiers?
There was the title contenders, and that was where Portland and a couple other teams were in, and then there was the definite playoff teams and the playoff contenders. That's where DC was, and then the teams I thought were going to be crap, and that was Montreal and Chicago and San Jose and Dallas, and I was right about 3 of those, so I feel happy about myself.
All right, so let's talk about the updates.
All right, so I've expanded the tiers to 6 because it's my system and I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Is it more to just relieve yourself of any retribution should they be wrong?
I feel like actually this opens me up to even more criticism because this is getting pretty close to just straight up ranking the teams, but I don't want to do that.
I've broken it into 20 different categories.
So at the bottom, I have Montreal and Chivas and Chicago.
What are we going to call this category?
This is the teams that really suck category.
Okay.
Yeah. And then above that is San Jose and Houston and Colorado. 2 of those teams are kind of bad, but I would not be surprised if they made the playoffs, or if they made some kind of run. Colorado, I would be surprised, only because they lost Drew Moore today. That loss dropped them down a tier, over the day. Tier 4, right above them, is the Eastern Conference fifth place playoff race between New York, Philly, and New England. Right above them is the Western Conference 5th place playoff race with Vancouver and Portland and Columbus, who are, they're not trying to get a Western Conference playoff spot, but they're near those teams. Then I've got playoff contenders, but probably not winning any hardware in DC and Toronto and Dallas, and then everybody else up top, title contenders, Kansas City, Seattle, RSL, and LA.
Now let me ask you this. Are these based on are these kind of where you project them to finish the season, or is this based on previous what they've done so far this season? Because I'm curious about Chicago, who's in the bottom of the barrel, but they're still working on adding some pieces before uh, the rest of the deadlines close. Do you see that? You know, if they get, and I know they added Earnshaw, I believe, and they're also looking at Jermaine Jones still. Do you think that bumps them up if they get Jermaine Jones?
I mean, if they get Jermaine Jones, sure, but I don't think they're going to, and I don't think their fan base thinks they're going to, because part of the whole process was looking at every single team's subreddit, and on the bottom I put all the ones that were the most depressed, and Chicago is by far the most depressed subreddit right now.
Well, I think if you had...
And really, I mean, are we expecting, even if Jermaine Jones does come in, are we expecting that he is going to be the exception to the rule and come in, make an immediate impact, adjust to the way that MLS plays, or, you know, mid to late season DP that doesn't play as well as they will the next year?
Well, I think that you got to look at Earnshaw also, because he had a hell of a season last year in Toronto.
Well, he had a hell of like a first 5 games.
Sure. He showed he could score, and I think if you can add both of those pieces, I don't know. I wouldn't write him off just yet. Is all I'm saying.
Well,
I'm not going to put them up
so.
in the playoff contender, but I'm gonna say they can fight for the 5th playoff spot.
I'm gonna say that they're not gonna, and I think their fans are gonna agree with me. And that's the biggest reason, is they're all super unhappy. I went over there today to go ask about C.J. Brown, who I learned about today, which is really depressing because he'd been around for like 13 years, made some national team starts, was on that '98 team that depressingly beat my DC, and yet I for some reason never heard of him. And like the first 12 posts were, man, we're never going to be good with Hotman as our owner. Is this get any better ever? We need to move out of Bridgeview. Everything in the world sucks. I mean, it was really sad over there. I felt like I needed to make a post about C.J. Brown to like make them be happy again or something. Give them a little bit of
Just kind of be a little.
Where does Chicago fall on the Chivas fan scale?
Well, okay, so it's hard to judge how Chivas fans are doing because nobody posts on that subreddit. So I don't know.
Also, I think a lot of Chivas fans are just kind of. I think they're excited for the season they're having right now, and even more excited for the future when they know that they have, a concerted effort to rebuild the team coming at them.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, when you're Chicago and you didn't make the playoffs last year because of a tiebreaker, there's a little bit of optimism going to the next season. But Chivas fans, few as they are, but growing, there's no like expectation or even hope or anything to get close to making the playoffs. So they're just, they're excited about Cubo Torres. They're excited about the eventual new ownership. They're excited about a potential downtown LA possibility thing. So.
Now, I guess my other argument, before we went on the air here, we were talking a little bit. I think it's surprising that you have Columbus ahead of New York on the tier list as well.
I mean, New York
now,
hasn't.
if you're basing it all on optimism, if you want to just go back 1 week in time and try to rejudge it, it's going to look a little different.
Well, yeah, but we're not going back 1 week in time. You guys beat LA. New York hasn't done anything impressive. I mean, we talked with Dan, who's a regular New York, Dan Dickinson, who's a regular New York media guy. He doesn't think they're going to make the playoffs. And they're a team who he says has looked fatigued since after the World Cup break. After like everybody took a break from playing soccer, they were still tired. So I don't. I'm not excited about New York and trying to make the playoffs, or any of those other teams really. I guess one of them has to. I don't think
you don't have the Bradley Wright Phillips fever over there.
I mean, I love myself some Bradley Wright Phillips, but and I'm sure New York. I mean, New York could still make the playoffs. I like them more than I like New England. I like them more than I like Philly. And again, if I'm judging by subreddit fan depression, Philly's
DC United brethren that he just claimed that he likes New York more than most teams in the East.
more than 2 other teams in the East. That's
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't like them. I think they are better
You
at
don't
soccer.
like them.
um, I don't know. I just Philly fans are super unhappy, so I'm like, whatever. They might win the Open Cup, but probably not. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, what is? I mean, to try to step outside the insulated world of a Sounders fan, what is the feeling across the league about Philly's chances of winning at home?
I mean, they think they have a better chance at winning than DC had at winning the Open Cup last year. So,
What do neutral fans think? Not Philly fans.
Neutral fans are watching Seattle take apart a couple teams on their way to the finals, and I know as a fan of an Eastern team, I'm watching. Yeah, I think Seattle's got a lock on it. Maybe I just jinxed them, and that'll help Philly out. But
I mean, that's what everybody thought about Salt Lake last year, right? Is that
no,
like,
everybody just thought that DC was the worst last year. No one thought that Salt Lake was dominating. They thought DC was just terrible. I'm not trying to judge you as a fan. I'm just saying that DC had won a couple of games going into that final.
and then they didn't win any more. But yeah, I don't know. Philly could do it. As a,
Yeah,
as
I
a,
mean,
as a neutral fan, I kind of want Seattle to win because I kind of want the whole treble possibility get dashed by DC in MLS Cup. I still love that narrative that I created for the universe. So
well, it's like they always say about the U.S. Open Cup games. They need to be given Tuesday afternoon.
exactly.
Let's talk. So CCL just kicked off. Do you see any teams having any of the MLS teams, or having any trouble with any of the opponents they're up against in this opening round?
Um, I mean, the one that will be intriguing to watch, right, is New York and Montreal's group because they're in the same group. And Montreal is kind of like DC was last year. They don't give a shit about the league anymore because they've won 3 games. So they're going to try really, really hard at the CCL, and then against a fatigued New York team, they could do it.
And a question for you, maybe you know this because you're a DC fan. I see that they're going to play Waterhouse on tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, I'm looking at the logo right now, and why is Waterhouse's logo surrounded with fire? Got some like sweet flames, and they're called Waterhouse. Get on.
Your guess is as good as mine. I have no idea.
I think they thought it was cool. That's my guess. You want to talk about some games over the weekend?
We can do that.
Matches?
Hold up.
We lost Pete, everybody. It's just me and
we
him
did.
talking at this point, and you're stuck listening to it.
He says any chance of calling me, he wants us to call. I think we can do that, actually.
He's so needy.
Yeah. What that means is I'm going to have to end the broadcast hangout, though. Which is fine because I've already recorded everything on my computer.
Okay.
Alright, that's what I'm going to do.
Cool.